Kenya itainuka, Kenya itasimama, Kenya itanawiri kwa umoja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Ladies and gentlemen, we are here as government to clarify on certain weighty issues that were raised by the Catholic bishops yesterday at a press conference that questioned the interventions by the government on various issues affecting our beloved country. The government has taken note of concerns raised by the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, KCCB, regarding various pressing issues affecting our nation. We welcome the bishops' engagement and value their advocacy for the well-being of Kenyans. We wish to respectfully respond to each point raised, affirming our commitment to transparency, accountability, and the welfare of all citizens. On corruption, the government reiterates its commitment to upholding ethical standards in public service as per Article 232 of the Constitution, and continues to prioritize transparency and accountability in its dealing as part of the national values and principles. The head of state and government, His Excellency President William Ruto, has numerously emphasized that his administration is prioritizing the fight against corruption as the most urgent national challenge, calling for swift legislative reforms to tackle this menace head-on. Key among the government's proposals are amendments to the Evidence Act and Criminal Procedure Code to hasten corruption investigations and prosecutions aimed at expeditious conclusion of graft cases within 6 months. To strengthen citizen involvement, the government has proposed amendments to the Witness Protection Act to overhaul protection of whistleblowers, ensuring their safety and incentivizing reporting of corruption and other criminal activities. The administration has tabled amendments to the Public Finance Management Act and the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Act, targeting procurement as a focal point of corruption and abuse of office in the public sector. These reforms will introduce a fully digital and transparent procurement platform to provide real-time end-to-end visibility of procurement activities from tender announcements to contract awards. Additionally, the President has engaged Parliament to swiftly pass the Conflict of Interest Bill with a further cautionary commitment that will veto any legislation that fails to meet high standards of accountability and anti-corruption measures. The amendment to the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Act also proposed that at least 40% of goods and services procured by the government come from local manufacturers. However, all tenders valued at less than 1 billion shillings will be reserved for Kenyan farms in order to protect our local, micro, small, and medium enterprises from established foreign contractors. This is the real bottom-up. Pesa mfukoni. These proposals will further spur economic growth, creating more jobs, opportunities locally, and truly realize the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative. Thus far, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has recovered process of corruption and stolen public assets to the tune of Kenya shillings 28 billion, comprising of cash, movable and immovable properties, and other belongings. The government is keen on providing a stronger legal framework and adequate budgetary allocation to the graft watch dogs and to effectively undertake their constitutional mandate and to slay the dragon of corruption. On human rights and fundamental freedoms, the government is deeply concerned about the safety and human rights of all Kenyans. In this regard, the National Police Service has reported that during the June and July 2024 protests, 495 police officers and 347 civilians were injured, with another 42 Kenyans unfortunately losing their lives. And this is the official statistics. We do acknowledge the tragic circumstances and confirm that the DCI continues to investigate any disappearances, even as the Independent Policing Oversight Authority remains focused in identifying and addressing any excesses on the side of police. The government is committed to ensuring justice and the respect of human rights and fundamental freedoms, and it will not hesitate to take necessary actions to uphold all of them and to hold anybody accountable. On NHIF, faith-based hospitals, and government commitments, the government is actively addressing the historical NHIF debts, including the Kenya shillings 19 billion owed to healthcare providers. This is a debt of 10 years. And as of now, we have already disbursed 5.05 billion, with faith-based hospitals, including the Catholic hospitals, receiving Kenya shillings 938 million. And further, an additional 2.5 billion is scheduled for disbursement in the next few days. The government assures that these pending bills will be cleared, allowing the healthcare providers to continue serving our people effectively. As we are very committed to the better plan, we are also equally devoted to ensure that each and every promise that we make is realized, and that if people think that it is yet to be done, it's because we are in the midterm. And even when you have a child who is in midterm, you cannot say you now have the report card at the end of the term. The child is still in school. We are only in power for about 2 years. So those of people who are saying it's about lies, no, it's not lies, it's work in progress. We are also selling you our vision. We are telling you what we are intending to do and what we have been able to accomplish. So I think that is something that we need to do between what is and what ought to be. We are making very good progress in securing the legacy of President William Ruto, especially with regards to the 5 pillars of the better plan. In this regard, about universal health care, through the shift to shift, issues of medical bills will permanently be resolved, and that this program will permanently transform the provision of healthcare services to ensure all Kenyans have access to preventable, promotive, palliative, and curative care. And as a result, over 14 million Kenyans have been enrolled in SHIF, and over 60% of employers have also been enrolled. This is a positive feedback on the success of this new medical scheme, and it actually negates what the naysayers and pundits have been saying about it. We therefore, as government, urge all Kenyans who have not registered in SHIF to shift to SHIF through *147# or https://www.sha.go.ke and also Afiangu, so that you can benefit. And as I said earlier, I have actually benefited personally at a family level. On the proposed extension of tenure of elected leaders, there is nothing like that. This is dead on arrival, because this was a bill that was privately sponsored by Senator Samson Cherargei, who I was privileged to serve with in the last Senate, and it was thus not a government-sponsored bill. And the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee and Human Rights of the Senate did not okay the bill, and so it will not and cannot proceed. We thus urge the Catholic bishops, respectfully, and all other stakeholders to verify information carefully to avoid sensationalism, misinformation and disinformation, and generalizations and assumptions about proposed pieces of legislation in the country. And we are saying this because a lot of lies were told around the finance bill, which had some of the most progressive proposals in June, leading to its demise. So we cannot countenance a situation where this happens again. The government is committed to upholding the spirit and letter of the Constitution and believes in regular elections as demanded by the Constitution to hold leaders to account. On taxation and revenue-raising measures, the government recognizes the importance of a balanced and fair tax regime and is reviewing measures to ensure that the burden on ordinary Kenyans is reduced. The government is working towards reform to make the tax system equitable while meeting the obligations to fulfill the national agendas as enshrined in the Kenya Vision 2030 and the MTP4. The proposed tax reforms aim at achieving a fair and equitable tax system, including provision of justified tax amnesty and a reduction in tax expenditures to channel more resources towards essential public services. The reforms expand the digital tax base to include ride-hailing, food delivery, freelance, and other professional services, ensuring digital service providers also contribute fairly to the economy. So if you are ordering food, and then you are charged more, I think that's fair. If you are taking an Uber, that's just, and it's such a manner that they are the ones to pay, and they should not pass on that to the consumer or to the customer. Additionally, a significant economic presence tax will be levied on income from non-resident entities in Kenya, digital marketplace. And you should understand why we are saying this, because now the digital marketplace is borderless. It is not within the confines of geographical borders. So if you have a digital presence significantly here in Kenya and you are an American company or a UK company or any other company, you should be able to pay tax. And that is actually verifiable because you have the market share. So please pay so that we can help the country to move forward. And this is an international best practice. It's not just Kenya which does so. These changes are part of the Tax Laws Amendments Bill 2024 and other related bills reflecting a broad public input designed at enhancing tax compliance and revenue collection. The rejection of the 2024 Finance Bill occasioned the loss of Kenya shillings 346 billion in projected revenue, and the government must innovatively look for alternative means to finance the national budget. The government has resorted to partnerships with bilateral and multilateral partners, such as the IMF, who recently gave us Kenya shillings 78.3 billion, extended credit facility, ECF, to bolster our fiscal and climate resilience. And this was negotiated in 2021 for your information. And this was a 7 and 8 disbursement. And Kenya shillings 34 billion, a facility from China to help build roads, especially in rural areas. Additionally, the government is exploring opportunities under the Public-Private Partnership, PPPs, arrangement as a lawful and viable alternative to development financing. And this is anchored in law, because I heard the Catholic Bishop saying, questioning the law. It's very well anchored in law. The Nairobi Expressway and the Nairobi-Mombasa SGR project are among the key projects that have been financed through PPP arrangements before. The Kaishan Group recently invested Kenya shillings 12 billion in the 35 megawatt power, 22 geothermal power plant at Menengai, Nakuru County, and will invest another 12 billion in a PPP arrangement to establish sustainable green ammonia production in the next 24 months. So we are missing out of a lot of investments as a result of this resistance. The Adani Group is also investing 95 billion shillings to build and operate 3 new transmission lines and 2 substations in the country. These billions would have been borrowed and the burden passed to Kenyans, but they are now investments for the general public, including the dual link of the Nairobi summit all the way. That is also another project of about 150 billion or more. The government is committed to implementing policies that not only address current fiscal needs, but also aimed at strengthening our national economic foundation for the future. These measures are balanced in ensuring a sustainable public debt to GDP ratio, because we know very well it was actually at 73, but now it has reduced to 68. Very commendable, because we have been able to reduce it by 5%. Our goal is to develop an economy that relies more on robust domestic revenue rather than on foreign debt. On education system and university funding, the Ministry of Education remains committed to the success of the competence-based curriculum and has invested in its rollout, including the construction of over 16,000 classrooms and the recruitment of a record 56,950 teachers. We have ensured that the higher education student-centered new university funding model, NFM, is responsive to students' financial needs, with over 41 billion shillings disbursed since 2023 to support universities proportionately. The government affirms that these efforts are ongoing to improve and sustain the education sector, which serves over 11 million learners across Kenya. On youth employment, the Kenya Kwanza government promised to create employment opportunities to Kenyans, and we have remained innovative to this effect, getting opportunities for our citizens locally and abroad. A total of Kenyans, the number of Kenyans of 105,367 have benefited from job opportunities abroad in the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain, amongst other nations. The government is also finalizing bilateral negotiations with other countries to expand our labor export market beyond our traditional destinations. And these active destinations are in the sunset stages that include Russia, Poland, and Jordan. And of course, you know, recently we had a negotiation in Germany. In fact, as we speak, Dr. Alfred Mutua has already rolled out a program to go Mashinani, my predecessor, the one who was the first government spokesman, to open more doors, to get more money, and to feed more Kenyans, so that if you analyze the money that we get, about 500, 600 billion, thereabout, most of this money is actually going to maintain families across the nation. And a new recruitment for these foreign opportunities will kick off from 18th of November to 6th of December. Remember, there was actually a stampede here at KICC when people were being recruited to Qatar. It was very successful. And so therefore we encourage Kenyans to seize these opportunities, which not only provide jobs, but also skills and technology transfer to our country. The affordable housing project is not only geared towards decent and affordable housing to Kenyans, but has also created over 160,000 job opportunities to Kenyan youth. Currently, there are over 124,000 housing units at various stages of construction in 75 sites across 37 counties. Further, over 547,000 Kenyans have registered on the Bomba Yangu platform. The Climate Works Mtaani initiative seeks to provide a source of employment to 200,000 Kenyans across the country, with each and every country having at least 1,500 beneficiaries. This approach creates jobs for the youth while undertaking climate action. The initiative has been rolled out in Nairobi before it kicks off progressively to the counties. The government has also operationalized 274 digital hubs, and in collaboration with the private sector, we aim at creating 1,450 hubs in every ward across the country, and over 490,000 Kenyans have since been equipped with digital skills through the Jitume program, with another 149,000 connected to online job opportunities, and I'm a witness to this. Further, the free visa entry to Kenya has also given a boost to our tourism industry and service industry, with the country expecting 2.5 million visitors this year, up from 1.4 million visitors in the year 2022. The government has also repositioned Kenya as a premier meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions MICE destination, and this KICC is usually very active because of that. This has further empowered the service industry, creating more opportunities for Kenyans. You remember the Africa Climate Summit, the African Development Summit on 60th anniversary, and many other important international meetings. On the reconstitution of the IEBC, the government is committed to having a functional electoral body to ensure that the IEBC undertakes its mandates, including pending by-elections. To this effect, His Excellency the President assented to the IEBC Amendment Bill into law on the 9th of July, 2024. It's good for the Catholic bishops to hear this and everybody else, paving way for the constitution of the IEBC selection panel. The reconstitution of the IEBC has, however, been in limbo due to the replacement of Augustine Muli with Koki Muli by the Azimio la Umoja Coalition Party, which resulted into a tribunal order restraining Parliament from submitting names to His Excellency the President for appointment of members to the selection panel. The President is ready and willing to appoint the selection panel upon the submission of these names by Parliament. So I think that is where the issue is. And we respect institutions, there is a rule of law. Due process must continue. So it's not really, it's not an issue that has been done by the government. It's a political dispute that must be resolved politically and through legal means, because that is how we couch our civility, to ensure that we don't also go by the brow of the rule of the jungle. On the economic outlook, all macroeconomic indicators suggest a positive economic trajectory and turnaround. The exchange rate has stabilized, appreciating by nearly 20% since February, exchange rate, which has reduced our external debt servicing costs significantly by over $1 trillion, by the way. Our forex reserves have risen by $2.4 billion, now covering 4.8 months of imports, the highest level since 2017. And it's also good to say the lending rate is now on average with the banks is about 15.1%, which is very good. That means Kenyans can get more money for investment. And further, inflation has dropped to 2.7%, a 17-year low, significantly easing the cost of living in line with the Kenya Kwanza's objectives. Interest rates are trending downwards, which will lower domestic borrowing costs and free up fiscal resources. Key sectors of our economy, like agriculture, are still on the rebound, buoyed by sufficient rainfall. We prayed for rain, it happened. We believe in prayers, praise God. And our intentional subsidization of production rather than consumption. The fertilizer subsidy from 7,000 to 2,500 and seed subsidy programs have enabled us to produce surplus maize for the first time in 10 years and also produce surplus sugar for the first time. Now Kenya is a net exporter of sugar like other countries. In fact, I remember a certain leader from another country complaining at a meeting that I was in that we are no longer importing sugar from them. That is really positive. The price of unga, fuel, and other basic commodities have gone down significantly, easing the burden of Kenyans. The government has raised the guaranteed minimum price for milk from Kenya shillings 37 in 2022 to now 50 shillings per litre. That is new KCC, representing a 35% increase. As a result, milk production has grown by 13% from 4.6 billion litres in 2022 to 5.2 billion litres in 2024. The government is on track in the implementation of the Better Plan, and we shall keep our promises to the people of Kenya. Our midterm achievements are a clear indication that our eyes are still on the ball. The government remains open to constructive dialogue with the KCCB and other civil society organizations to address national challenges collectively. We urge citizens and civil society players to fault and critique the government based on facts and in good faith, not on propaganda, innuendos, and imagination sometimes that are not true, based on maybe misinformation and misinformation. We are both partakers of the vision and space in this great nation because we are all building a nation together. Project Kenya must succeed. We may have different viewpoints, but we all belong to this country. The government thus remains dedicated and committed to safeguarding the welfare of all Kenyans, building a unified nation grounded in accountability, equality, justice, and peace in the spirit of nationhood and patriotism. Kenya itainuka, Kenya itasimama, Kenya itanawiri kwa umoja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe?
Wanahabari wenzangu, ni wakati wa kuuliza maswali. Tutachukua maswali 2-3.
Hello, my name is Michelle from Capital FM. I would like you to confirm the cumulative NHIF debt that the government has settled so far. Yesterday, the Catholic bishops said that the hospitals, most of which are run by Catholics, are still owed 3 billion. So please clarify on that. And the 9 billion released so far, how much has gone to church-run facilities and secular hospitals? Thank you.
Daktari, habari ya mchana.
Sijambo sana Afrika.
Asante.
Tony Reagan.
Ni Ronnie.
Ronnie Reagan.
Tunapoteleana ndio maana. Daktari, nina maswali matatu kwetu sote leo hii. Na swali la kwanza ambalo nitaanza nalo daktari ni karibu wewe ni mmoja kati yao.
Asante sana. Huu ndio mdomo wa serikali.
Naam. Huenda leo utaniruhusu leo nitachanganya Kimombo na Kiswahili wa Kenya wapate kuelewa. Na daktari, swali la kwanza ambalo Kenya wanauliza sasa hivi katika mitandao ya kijamii kuanzia ripoti ya jana ya maaskofu wa kanisa la Katoliki ni kwamba why is the government reactive? Statement moja pekee ilijibiwa na statement zaidi ya 9 kuelekea 10 na 10. It looked like it was now a moment of us attacking them. Kwamba ni sasa wacha tuwavamie moja kwa moja. Tuliona wanasiasa wakiwemo wabunge na maseneta wakivuruga kweli. Sijui mikrofoni yangu inasikika kwa sababu itabidi nisimame. Hii iko mbali. Hapo iko sawa. Ya, kwa sababu kesho tutakuja kuuliza hili swali hapo. Watu watengeneze mwanga. No. Endelea. Nione sio na hamsa. Kwa hivyo daktari, swala ambalo nitarejelea ni kuhusiana na why is the government reactive? Iwapo maaskofu wa kanisa la Katoliki walijitokeza wakisema kwamba kuna hizi changamoto ambazo Wakenya wanakumbana nazo kwa njia moja au nyingine, kila ambacho serikali ilifaa kufanya kilikuwa ni kipi? Mumeeleza udhaifu wenu, mumeeleza unyonge wenu, mumeeleza kula ambako mmefeli, basi mrekebishe tukienda mbele. Tusiwe na hii daktari ile ya back and forth na kuwavuruga Wakenya. Sasa umezungumza, najua wengine watajitokeza tena, maaskofu wengine tena watazungumza kujibu kila ambacho umesema. Tutakuwa tunapelekana mbele tukirejea nyuma. Tuenda miguu mbele, miguu 10 mbele, turejea miguu 100 nyuma. Swala la pili daktari ni kuhusiana na mauaji, utekaji nyara, na tukizungumzia mauaji tunazungumzia sana swala la mauaji dhidi ya mtoto wa kike ama wanawake. Kati ya hao wote ambao wamekuwa wakifariki katika msimu huu miezi miwili iliyopita, miezi mitatu, daktari, ni taarifa za kugutusha sana, zinatisha sana. Yule ambaye ameuliwa huenda ni mamangu, yule ambaye ameuliwa huenda ni dadangu, na kama si dadangu basi ni rafiki yangu, na akikosa kuwa rafiki yangu basi ni rafiki wa rafiki yangu. Daktari, hatuwezi tukielekea mbele tukipoteza Wakenya kiholela. Serikali inajua kila ambacho inafaa kufanya. Msitueleze kwamba daktari, DCI wanachunguza. DCI wanasema wanachunguza, wanakuja kutueleza kwamba hawajui ni akina nani ambao wanafanya zile abductions, utekaji nyara. Daktari, na maana kwamba tuna asasi zingine tofauti na NIS na DCI na maafisa wa polisi, vitengo mbalimbali ambavyo vinatekeleza wajibu huu. Tueleze ni nani ambao anawateka nyara wa Kenya, na hawa 29 ambao hadi kufikia sasa hawajulikani waliko, watarejeshwa kwa familia zao wakati upi daktari? Na daktari, ninapomalizia na kuomba tu daktari yajibu maswali yangu jinsi ambavyo nimeyauliza, Wakenya wapate kukuelewa leo hii, na kuomba kwa heshima.
Ujambo, jina langu ni Tilio Marco kutoka KBC. Wakenya wanaendelea kuhangaika hospitalini kutokana na matatizo ya NHIF. Ni lini serikali inaweza kuhakikishia Wakenya kwamba matatizo hayo yatafika mwisho? Wataendelea hivyo hadi lini? Hivyo ndio nataka kujua, kufikia lini matatizo hayo yatakuwa yameisha.
Asante sana Tilio.
La mwisho,
Kama kuna mdada mmoja jitayarisha nimpatie nafasi ya mwisho kabisa.
Safi. Asante sana daktari. Mimi naitwa Vincent Afande kwa niaba ya Radio Citizen. I have 3 brief questions in regards to yesterday's bishop statements. Na ningeomba daktari uyanakili ili ujibu moja baada ya nyingine. Swali moja kwanza linajitokeza ni je, viongozi wa kidini wanapojibizana na serikali ni changamoto gani zinaweza shuhudiwa hasa kisiasa? Hilo ni swali moja. Na maoni yako ni yapi kuhusu viongozi wa kidini na taasisi za serikali? Hivi majuzi tumeshuhudia wanajibizana hapa na pale, viongozi wa kidini wakidalilisha serikali, hasa Rais William Ruto. Na swali langu la mwisho mheshimiwa, ni ushawishi gani wa kisiasa unapojitokeza kutokana na viongozi wa kidini na wa kisiasa nchini? Asante sana daktari.
Good afternoon, Daktari. My name is Timothy from Omani. Haina shida. Swali langu ni kwamba inahusiana na mpya wa wa SHA. Kufika sasa ni kama mwezi mmoja na nusu tangia ubuniwe, lakini kufika sasa daktari, bado ukiangalia ama ukienda kuangalia akaunti yako bado haija read ama ina read zero. Tueleze, watu wataanza kuona wanalipia nini, ama hiyo fedha yao ambayo wanakatwa kwenye biashara yao ama wenye wanalipia kutokana na mabiashara yao itaanza kuonekana lini, ama ndio serikali bado inachukua hiyo fedha kulipia NHIF?
Asante sana na Michelle kwa maswala yenu. Jambo la kwanza Michelle, ni vizuri kusema kwamba tumeweza kulipa zaidi ya yote English. We paid over 5.05 billion. We are paying another 2.5 billion. And we have 19 billion owed so far. Actually, at some point, the estimate was about 30 billion. And so that has since been verified. The official statistics has been released. And also, Michelle, 938 million has been paid. I may not be able to tell you how much has gone to various hospitals, whether they are faith-based owned or private or government, but I can tell you without a doubt that a significant amount of this money has gone to faith-based hospitals, including those owned by the Catholic Church, and there are 1,414 that have registered against 2,498 from private sector and over 4,670 from government. So you can see government is more compliant. So we will continue to pay until we finish. And then I think the other question came from non-religion. They will always be arrested from government. And we need to respond because...
Daktari, tumepoteza sauti ya tufanye.
We need to respond because what we found yesterday is that the statement by the Tenure institutions was not correct in several respects. We are the custodians of public information, and so therefore we cannot fail. We are the custodians of public information, and therefore we cannot fail to clarify and to give the right facts. But in real sense, we don't agree with the issue, for example, of we do not agree with the issue of saying that we have agreed to extend the country. That one, I think that is not true. We question, for example, the issue of the fight against corruption when we have recovered of the opinion, the past amount of credit, we do not agree because we have reformed the education system in such a manner that everybody was teachers are still employed and allocated of 41 billion, a huge amount, the hugest amount that term for universities, when we are actually constructing like 15,000 classrooms across the country, when we have 105,000 people who got jobs in the last 2 years across the country and counting, when we have over 14 million Kenyans registered under SHIP and still many more counting, those are successes when the cost of living has actually come down. So we have to respond, because if we don't respond swiftly, it means people will be misinformed, and the Catholic Church has got a lot of faithful. There's a lot of adherents, and these are people who will believe their bishops and priests, and we take them seriously because they are a key, segment of our society. They are very influential, so we must respond, going forward, and we will continue seeing this, and also collectively and individually, going forward. I think I've answered you that question, Mr. Ronnie Reagan. The other issue is about, and also, why do we also respond before I get out of that? It's because we also want to showcase what we've been able to do. Because they said, oh, we are involved in lies. But we are telling you, we are in the midterm, and we are reporting progress. You cannot tell a child, because they are coming to school in midterm, that they have failed their end of term exam. I think that's not right. We are all parents here, many of us are parents. We give them a chance to do their term. We took a country and an economy that was highly dilapidated, riddled with debt. Still, we were able to pay the Eurobond over 280 billion Kenya shillings. We never defaulted as it was supposed to be. Kenya shilling is the best currency after Argentina in the world, most resilient. I mean, many good things. All the macroeconomics. When inflation is only at 2.7%, it's something to be celebrated. So we need to respond with facts, not just propaganda and public relations exercise. And then, yes, Madam ndugu yangu kutoka KBC, Tilio, nimekwambia mimi mwenyewe nimefaidika na hii NHIF. Nimelipa na nikalipiwa hospitali katika familia yangu. Kuna matatizo tu ya kuanzia kidogo kidogo, lakini tunaendelea kuyasahihisha vile ambavyo tunavyokwenda. Ni kama gari ambalo liko kwenye barabarani. Pengine litapata panchari, lakini tutasonga mbele. Najua Waswahili walisema kwamba heri pancha pajero kuliko rafiki mwenye kero. Tunaendelea kubadilisha ile pancha kidogo hapa hivi kule, mwishowe mfumo mpya utakuwa sawa. Lakini ukumbuke kwamba Mheshimiwa Rais alitia sahihi ile miswada mitatu ya kuhakikisha kwamba tuna mfumo mpya wa afya tarehe 19 Oktoba mwaka uliopita. Tulikuwa tuanze kusajili watu tarehe 1 mwezi wa Machi. Lakini mwezi wa 3 tulipelekwa kotini, watabibu wakakwenda mgomo, tukasukumana hapa. Mwishowe tumekuja kuanza tarehe 1 Oktoba. Tumepoteza mwaka mzima. Kwa hiyo shida kama hizo ni kwa sababu ya matukio kama yale, na Wakenya wana uhuru wa kwenda kotini na hata kuitisha migomo, lakini lazima tusuluhishe mwishowe. Tumepoteza muda mwingi sana. Afande, nafikiri umeuliza masuala ya kidini kwa sababu kuna ushawishi mkubwa sana wa dini. Na pia kuna uungwaji mkono mkubwa sana wa serikali kwa sababu inaundwa kisiasa. Kwa hivyo tuko katika kama soko moja. Na soko hilo ni Kenya. Lazima tusemezane. Na wakitukosoa kwa sababu tunawaenzi, kwa sababu tunawaheshimu, kwa sababu hawa ni viongozi wetu wa kiroho, lazima tuwachukulie seriously. Sio kama mtu kupayuka pale. Hawa ni maaskofu. Wamevaa nguo zao, wanatubatiza, wanatupatia kipaimara. Kwa nini wewe mwenyewe usimchukulie mtu huyo kwa uzito zaidi? Na wakiwa kwa pamoja kongamano. Ndiposa tuwajibu. Tunawaheshimu, lakini pia lazima tuambie ukweli uliopo. Na tunawaita waje kwenye mkutano. Mheshimiwa Rais yuko tayari kukutana na wao ili tuweze kusemezana na kujadiliana zaidi. Na wana ushawishi, tunakubali. Na tungependa ushawishi ule pia utufaidi sisi kama serikali. Na pia wao wafaidike na huduma za kiserikali kwa sababu pia ndio walipa kodi na pia ni washikadau wakuu katika serikali yetu ya Kenya. Nafikiri Timothy Turiken, swala lako lilikuwa lini hususan? Niwacha nikuulize hapa. Nafikiri what was your question?
Mfumo huo wa SHA kubuniwa. Lakini kufika sasa ukijaribu kuangalia labda akaunti yako bado.
Sawa, asante, nimepata. Itachukua muda kwa sababu unajua tunatumia teknolojia, lakini kile ambacho umelipa kitaweza kuoneshana pale. Tusiwe na tashwishi hata kidogo. Lazima kuwe kuna shida kidogo kidogo na mwishowe tunarekebisha mambo, tunakarabati hivi kile tunasoma hapa. Sometimes kuna downtime ya hiyo mambo ya star 147 pengine afya yangu, lakini mwishowe tunasonga mbele tu, tukiendelea tukipitia watu wengi pengine wana jam system na kadhalika nini, lakini yote itakuwa ikisawazishwa. Hakuna pesa zozote ambazo zitapotea kwa sababu unajua kile ambacho umekilipa na kile ambacho umefaidi. Lakini tukumbuke kwamba si ati wewe unaweza kupatiwa zile pesa ambazo wewe mwenyewe umechangia. Kama mimi nalipa shilingi 22,000, lakini kuna mtu analipa shilingi 300, afaidike kwa sababu ile mimi sio mgonjwa. Wewe watu ambao tunalia kwamba watu wagonjeke. Wasilia Turiken. Hizo akaunti zipo sambamba na hakuna ufadhili hakuna ubadhirifu wowote kumradhi ambao utatendeka, kwa sababu tunataka kuhakikisha kwamba tuna uwazi na hamna ufisadi na watu Kenya wameweza kufaidi. Lakini tukumbuke kwamba hasidi hana sababu. Kuna wale ambao hawaitakii hii serikali vyema, kuna wale ambao wangelipenda sisi tuzifaulu, na ni wengi tu, na wana mirengo yao ya kisiasa pia. Hao pia wapo, na washindani wetu, wapinzani wetu pia wanaikosoa serikali. Niliwaona jana wakikosoa mfumo wetu wa elimu, walikuwa pale wakina Martha Karua na wengineo. Tunawaheshimu, watoe maoni yao, kina Kabando, kina Mukisa Kitui na wengine ambao niliwaona hapo. Tuwasikize, turekebishe. Mwishowe Wakenya wataamua, ndio watafaidika. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.